Hello and welcome to Forging the Characters. I'm Shaun, aka the Forgemaster, and today I'll be showcasing what Hero Forge can do when it comes to making character minis, walking you through ways to use advanced techniques and other tricks and tips in the character builder. Today I'm working on the minis for the upcoming campaign of Viscous Cycle, DM'd by me. It will launch on March the 29th at 6 PM at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg. Today I've got a selection of pre-made minis from most of the players, and one mini that I previously made that I'm going to update. As always, I'd like to tweak these models or try something new or unusual in order to make the Hero Forge mini unique from one another. Let's get forging. Okay, I'm going to get started with Rex. Rex is played by Johnny and is a half-orc cleric of peace, devotee of Clemvor, hence the kind of gothic aesthetic, very much kind of plague doctor trope. Now what I want to do is I want to bring just a little bit more movement in. A lot of the poses were very kind of static, very almost kind of waiting like stagnantly for something to happen, and it looks good as a party altogether doing that, but I just want to bring in a bit more movement, so we'll do that. Let's see how we go. Now this is something that I don't mention because it's kind of one of those basic things that I don't think a lot of tutorials necessarily focus on. In order to pick the pose that I want, I just need to get the setting of the legs right. So obviously you can advance pose everything else, but the legs have to remain static so that it has the contact points and stability to hold the model up. So picking the pose based on the legs is like the important first step. So because I want to kind of, I'm thinking like a clerical, like holding up a holy symbol kind of thing. So I need a nice pose, like wide legs, kind of supporting the weight in a kind of inside base kind of form. I'm looking maybe at that one. It's maybe a bit more dynamic than I want. Maybe that one. I don't intend for him to have two health kits. I just wanted to swap the hands around just because that was for this holy symbol. Being a priest of Clemvor, I know that the scales, kind of scales of justice kind of thing, are an important symbol. However, I don't think there's any items with scales on at the moment. So I might have to go for something a little bit different. Just noticed we've got a bit of clipping there, which must have happened when I changed the pose. Okay, what I want to do now, I have to say, I've never really been a fan of the kind of little cloth holder there. It works for some models, but sometimes I wish that you could swap it out for different designs. So I'm going to try a workaround. I'm going to overlap another model of Rex, one which has the backpack and one which has the mace, and hopefully it'll look like it's kind of sticking out of the backpack. Let's see how that goes. So I've tried it. I'm not happy with it. That's kind of ridiculous. The only way to have it not sticking out of that side is to have it almost falling out of the other. So I think we'll just stick with how it was. Job done. All right, next one up is Jarcarth, who is played by Josh. Jarcarth is human, ? We do like a human ? Jarcarth has dragonborn-like left hand and some scales. Now, I'm looking at the model that Josh has made, and I don't really want to do too much to the pose, just because I think Josh has clearly done quite a bit of tweaking just to get the pose that he wanted. The one thing that I did notice is we've got these scales going up there, which I think is probably due to wanting both the Dragonborn left hand and the bandages on them. I think that this was unintended, so I'm going to try and do something a bit more subtle so that it's just using decals to create the scales and not be quite so blatant on the neck. Here we go. Okay, only a very small tweak, but hopefully it's a little bit closer to your original vision. Okay, moving on to Hera. Hera is played by Scarlet and is a reborn warlock, undying patron. Now, what I'd like to do with this model is just bring out some of the actual warlockiness, because at the moment it's not necessarily clear which patron, or even that she is a warlock. So that's my goal for this one. I've noticed this clipping caused by the collars on the choice of top. I'm gonna have a look at whether I can maybe get that neck item on a different top. If not, I might have a look at changing the hood. Changes things up a bit. I think that that's my best solution. Now, I wasn't too keen on any of the spell effects. They seem to be erupting too much from the bowl and obscuring what's inside. So I'm gonna try my old hidden arm trick. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Moving on, we've got Giacomo, played by Tom. Giacomo is another reborn Phantom Rogue this time. And whereas with the others I've been going for a bit more of a active pose that represents their class, Tom specifically requested that Giacomo has more of a pose that reflects his nature, where he doesn't want to kind of scare people about his undeadness. So rather than having it something kind of martial, like, you know, antagonistic kind of thing, I'm just going to go for something nice and simple, maybe to emphasize the entertainer side. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk through how to import a pose from the community library. So I'll get started. So to access it, you go to Heroes, and this is a pro feature. So, but it's worth, you know, giving it a go for a month, see what you think. Obviously, you also get access to lots of folders. And you get a bit of a sneak peek at some of our folders from previous campaigns. So, I've already had a bit of a scout around, so I know kind of what I'm looking for. I wanted a bow, like like you'd see, you know, performer at the end of a performance or at the beginning of a performance when they're about to do their amazing things. So, I'm looking for APR. And I'm going to add bow. Or bow. Bow and bow. And hopefully that's going to bring up some of the ones I want. Now I think that the community feature also brings up any of your saves that might fit the criteria kind of towards the top, so it kind of serves as a search function for your own stuff. And yeah, so you can see that we've got a few bow poses, and then you've got a couple of bow poses. Now I'm just going to have a quick scroll down, see if there's anything I missed. Fencing bow, I mean, it's quite low. Dramatic bow. Dramatic bow, or I was looking at the flourished bow. I think I'm going to stick with the flourished bow. That's the one I had scouted out previously. So I'm going to click it and then click the little arrow. So open copy, I believe, would just port it straight away. But we want to go click the arrow and then click on import. And then that gives us a little menu to say what we're going to import on. And there's all sorts of things that you can do. So this is obviously a very plain pose. So if I ticked anything like decals, colors, paints, I'm probably not going to get much. But what you can do is just import the pose. And it gives us a little preview of what Giacomo would look like in that pose. And yeah, I like that. I'm going to click accept. And as you can see, Giacomo is now in the new pose. I'm just going to tidy him up a bit, but I'm actually pretty happy with that. There you have it. So I've taken a community pose and then applied it to an existing character, tweaked it a little bit so that it fit the outfit, but it's easy as that. Okay, and now we have our old friend Eltrion, who you may remember from the Lonely House of Neverwinter. So we've obviously already got this pose of Eltrion, so I want to do something completely different. I thought that I would have a go at illustrating Eltrion's favourite trick of using a water skin to carry around the water that he then uses for shaping water whenever situation dictates. So yeah, give a go at that, see if we can bring that pose to life. Now we're going to do the famous hidden arm trick.
I'm almost done. I just want to have one more go at this effect here. I'm not 100% happy with this. I'm just going to make a save as and see if there's anything better. You'll have two to pick from, basically. Okay. Couple of options for you. Or water, or turning into ice. Let's see which one we end up with.
Okay, so seeing as I was mostly tweaking models made by our players, I've got quite a bit of time this episode, which I thought I'd use by creating one of the NPCs that's going to be quite important at some point in the campaign. I don't want to give away too much because spoilers, so I'm just going to make this person and you can draw whatever conclusions you like. Has to be said, I am quite picky about top and bottom combos, particularly if they don't look like they would flow into each other. So I may well be going back and choosing again, depending on whether I find something that's going to be suitable. So, you may have noticed that I've imported a copy. That is because you can tell I'm making an insectoid person. Rather than have, because I want them to have a configuration of 6 limbs, but rather than give them 2 sets of upper limbs, I'm going to try and give them 2 sets of lower limbs. So we'll see how well I get on with this. First thing I need to do, though, is remove that torso. Just have a pair of legs. So the first set was fine, but it was very uniform. But because I'd flipped it, both sides were perfectly mirrored, and it didn't feel organic to me. So I am trying out some other poses. I'm just using that belt as a way to try and gauge whether the hips are in the right place. Because, if I went to that one, they're obviously too low. But so I'm just using that belt to make sure they should more or less sit in the right place.
happier with those. Okay, I think we can move on to some colouring now. There we have it. So there we have it. There's our team, ready to save Neverwinter or die trying. So, until then, happy forging.